it's one thing to think about the life that we're called to live. It's another thing, to actually begin to walk in it, because self-awareness, doesn't mean that self-acceptance will be immediate, and that becomes the challenge, right? The challenge always comes down to how effectively we maneuver through from step to step, right? So as we move into this morning, move into this session, we're going to quickly have, I think I'm just going to this morning do a quick Bible study on the you are a powerful creative spiritual being, because you are, you know like I say all the time, like when I get here and I have to talk to myself, it's such a wonderful opportunity, right? But if we're being honest with ourselves, it becomes more challenging the 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 more you think about how responsible we are for one another. Welcome in, Gilda. Just talking about the responsibility we have to putting application to the awareness we have about ourselves. What's up, Lamont? Welcome in. So when you're aware, when you become more aware of who you are, what you were called to do, and your gifts, talents, and abilities. What's up, Isaiah? So when you think about all of the talents, all of the abilities, everything that you do, we talk about your self-awareness. When you become self-aware, now there becomes a step where we must accept the responsibility to be able to move forward and do something else, or to make the necessary changes, or to not make the changes, right? However, self-awareness requires us to then adopt an acceptance level. What's up, Latoya? We if we don't learn to accept ourselves in a real way, if we don't learn to appreciate ourselves, not judge ourselves, to love ourselves, to be ourselves, to really step out and do the things that we tell ourselves we're going to do. See, these challenges that, what's up, Nikki? These challenges that we face from day to day, we know and understand that, at least if you've lived any amount of time, you know that life isn't really easy, quote unquote. Everything requires a little bit of effort on our part. And when you want to give that effort over time, you want to become consistent over time, you're constantly making these choices to accept yourself and become more aware and to make these adjustments. However, many people are not choosing to grow, choosing to elevate in their life, to become the person they see themselves up, to know their higher self, and then to move as their higher self through this life. What's up, Daryl? So if you when you come to the realization that you are greater than your body, when you come to the realization then you're greater than the ego, when you come to the realization that there's more to this life than this physical reality, these realizations wake you up to greater possibilities. But that doesn't mean anything, because I tell people all the time, really only application saves. I don't care what you say out your mouth. I don't care what it is that you think. I don't care what it is. Like, the only thing that matters is what you do. And when you do, that's when things are going to start to change for you. When you start doing stuff. Now, when you continue to talk about stuff, now when you continue to make plans about stuff, now when you continue to, you know, feel good and affirm things. No, you actually have to do something. And that's what it all really comes down to, is application. Like, let's just take this live that y'all are on right now. I talked about going live and having a show, and I've started the show and not done it and started it, and 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 I understand, honestly, like, people that are able to do this, these people, they're a special type. You know what I'm saying? But because I've made the decision to do it, I had to continue to apply myself. Okay, what adjustments do I need to make? Because most of the time when we're choosing to grow, choosing to do something more, it's going to require some adjustments. Some of us, some huge adjustments, some small adjustments, but there's always going to be adjustments that are going to have to be made. What's up, Lydia? What's up, Angie 309, Rosie, Kia? Thank y'all for coming on in. So the truth is, I always try to tell people in every single video, right? I tell you all the time that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being. But if we don't break that down and help people understand where I got that from. So most people don't know that everything that I say is based on the Bible. Everything that I learned over the last 10 years through study, I studied the Christian Bible, but I woke up from that. I became more conscious. Now, to my defense, so that I'm being transparent, I was consciousness before I decided to follow Christ. So when I went from consciousness to following Christ, and then went to 10 years of school, including a Liberty University psychology degree. When I go through the Bible school, when I go through the ministerial school, when I go through all of these trainings, and I'm doing all of my personal studies, I realize there's this consistent pattern that is telling you how powerful you actually are, and that you're not your body. You're actually so much more than what you believe. The issue came down to the belief being the main factor that's controlling you, and controlling what it is that you're able to do. It all really comes down to if you believe it. Because I tell people all the time, right? I'm here to empower you to experience your divine presence, potential, and purpose. But if you don't believe that you're divine, if you don't believe that you're powerful, then anything that I tell you really doesn't matter. It doesn't have a positive effect that it could have. Yeah, it gives you a thought, which is my purpose of coming here, is to put a thought in you to help you think differently, to begin to think critically about your life, and to make advancements towards your higher self, to be able to wake up and become the real you, and do the things that you were created to do. Step into that powerful life, and stop being controlled by your influences, controlled by your environment, controlled by your traumatic experiences, controlled by all of the different things, basically our ego and the false things that we believe. These things control us. They shape us. They make our decisions for us. That's why so many people could be like, no, that's just how I am, or no, that's just what I do. If you have these type of situations, like, I don't know why I do that, or I don't know why I'm like that, or I don't know why I say that, then these are the situations that I come here to try to help you address, help you put your mind on it, put your thinking on it, so that you could be able to grow from that. So remember that your higher self is already with you. Your higher self is already communicating with you. The thing is, you just have to learn to quiet the mind, so that you can hear your higher self, so that you could tap in, so that you can really become the powerful, creative, spiritual being that I keep telling you that you are. If we fail, then that's fine, because every single time that we apply to it, we get stronger. Every single time that you meditate for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, every time you're going to get a little better. You're going to be able to resist the thoughts, and put down the thoughts a little quicker. You could be able to stay still a little longer, remain in that space a little longer. I remember back years ago when I first started meditating, I set my little timer for 5 minutes and be up and moving around within a minute. And I didn't beat myself up about it. I just sat back down and started back meditating, because being still is a practice. I had to practice being still. I had to practice quieting my mind. And every time that we practice getting better, every time that we practice knowing ourselves, practice loving ourselves, practice believing in ourselves, practice anything, application is what I'm talking about. So all of y'all that just came in, thanks for coming in. The application is what I'm talking about, because many people make plans, we prepare, we talk, we think, but we never actually apply it to put it to work, to put it to the test. And we should be finding out what works for us, hearing things and applying these things to our life, and becoming stronger because we continue to work at it, continue to develop it. And that's whatever it is for you. Now, it should be a process. In my personal opinion, it should be a process of embetterment, a process of you doing something to make yourself better, you doing something to grow in the things that you were created to do, recognizing your talents, recognizing your gifts, and then gaining the skills to be able to serve in this world doing those things. And that's just what I believe, because I believe that you were created with a purpose. I believe wholeheartedly that you are a creation. If you are a creation, it assumes that you have a creator. If you having a creator, creators only create things with a purpose, and therefore you have a purpose. And so when you think about this purpose, people have many different purposes attached to their talents that they came here with, that they were created with, right? But your purpose, it isn't self-serving. Your purpose is for others. And so what I always tell people when I conclude is that the we were all created to serve others. That's why you have that purpose. But if you never take time to learn who you are, to become the higher self, to become fully awake, uncontrolled by your influences, by your environment, by those who try to, like, we all had childhoods, and there's a high chance that if you grew up in the United States, that your childhood had a lot of trauma in it. And these individual events, they cause us to define ourselves and to put definitions and believe certain things about ourselves, and they create shame, guilt, fear, doubt. And these things are habitual. They're habitual. Like I was talking to somebody yesterday, like when people go to war, they get addicted to that chemical adrenaline, and then they come back into the civilian world, and they need that adrenaline, and many of them turn to crime because that's the way that they choose to get that adrenaline rush. Or people that are addicted to cortisol because they grow up in a stressful household, they're used to stress, and then they end up in these toxic relationships, and they end up living these toxic lives. They don't really think that they like it. They say that they don't like it, and they don't realize that they're addicted to the cortisol. They're addicted to the chemical. But we can retrain ourselves to become addicted to these positive emotions, become addicted to the chemicals that are created through love, through service, through gratitude. And when we serve, as somebody who's been serving now for, I guess, 13 years actually serving, and then I actually spent my hospitality years, so I guess that was service too. That's where fulfillment came for me. And so that's where my belief comes from my personal experiences, people that I met, the things that I've done, the things that I've read. I'm absolutely convinced that service to others is one of the greatest ways to raise your consciousness. It's with love, with gratitude, and with service. Raise your consciousness, introduce you to your higher self, help you to apply the things that you're learning, the things that you're applying, the things that you're recognizing about yourself through the self-analyzation process, through the meditation process, through the journaling process, through all of the mindfulness activities that me and others we suggest for you to do. When you begin to do them, you begin to elevate your consciousness. You become more aware. And then, like I was talking about in the beginning, that awareness doesn't change you. You then must accept and then apply. And so awareness is amazing. I'm not trying to downplay awareness. Waking up is absolutely amazing. Once you realize, like, hold on, man, like, wow. And but that doesn't, it doesn't really get you to the place where you can go. You then still have to do the work. Every single day I got to get up and do the work. We got to get up and do the work. Waking up is a journey, is an everyday process, and we're not going to always be 100%, but as long as we're always moving forward, moving towards that, the way that I was taught it, the way that I think about it is this spiritual journey, this actual thing that we're going through that we call life is built on an incline. And so the fact that you're as long as you continue to move forward, you continue to go up and you continue to go up. But if you stop, then you slide back. And so this challenge that we deal with, the of needing to, or feeling like we need to do more, is not more. It's just consistency. See, it's just consistency over time, a little bit of effort, 1% every day. You know, the challenge is, or we accept the limitations that we've given ourselves, the definitions of that we've accepted through our influences, through those who we grew up with, through our childhood, through our training, or through our schooling. All of these different influences, they gave us definitions, and we've kind of framed our life around the things that we believe inside of these definitions, right? When we experience an event that makes us feel shame, it can cause us to subconsciously or consciously feel unworthy. And then we continue to conduct ourselves as if we're not worthy. So that shame and that traumatic event, or that one situation, can control you for years. Some people, it controls them 10, 20, 30 years. When I talk to people and I'm asking them, and we're sitting down, and I'm saying, well, what is it that makes you think that XYZ, right? I don't want to talk about nobody's business. And then they begin to talk about something that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, so this one event has completely altered the entire course of their life. All of your decisions, everything that you choose not to do, because that's what happens. It keeps you from doing things, because that one event that made you feel shame, made you doubt yourself, created a fear within you that prevented you from being able to choose to do the powerful things that you can do, and to put yourself in a box. But what I'm trying to do is help you to think critically, to become more aware of the powerful, creative, spiritual being you are, introduce you to your higher self, so that you can wake up and break out of all of those accepted limitations, and start realizing that every single limitation is something that you've accepted. I was watching something yesterday. I thought it was the most powerful thing. He said that thing about Jesus was he had completely accepted that there were no limitations. And I was like, man, that's a pretty interesting way to put it. But we must also come to that point. Like, every limitation that you believe is a thing that you believe is a limitation. When you believe that you're your body, many times something happened to your body, you feel like it happened to you. You're because of how powerful you are, and because your mind and your soul have all of this power, your beliefs become your reality. They shape your lens, they shape your perception, they become everything that you are. And people don't understand it when somebody might say, well, your perception is your reality. Well, like, that's just what you think, or that's just what you feel. Many people, especially when I'm talking to people get offended all the time. But I mean, I understand. I'm a truth teller, and as a truth teller, I'm not supposed to be liked. Like, if you like me, I love you. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like me, I love you. So it doesn't matter to me whether you accept it, whether you appreciate it, or whether you apply it. The only thing that matters to me is, did I do what I believed I was supposed to do? Did I come here, cut on the camera, and start talking? See, the thing is, the challenge for me was, I've talked myself out of this so much because of the fear, that I could definitely tell you that even it doesn't matter at what level you're at, there's still going to be challenges that are going to be hard to face, because you're going to be scared. And now that I think about it, and I think about the fear, and I think about my childhood, and even in my 20s, and just my entire life, up until I was about 30, where people always said you talk too much. And so therefore that shame, that situation, that's in that thought that's in my mind, that's that thought that's in my head about people not liking that I talk, always makes me not want to come here and talk. There's a shame attached to me talking. Yet this is part of my calling. This is part of my assignment right now. This is where I can reach the most people, help conduct raising of consciousness across the globe by telling you and helping you to realize that the things that you become aware of, analyze them anytime you're triggered, think about it anytime you have an emotion, ask yourself, why do I feel like this? This type of self-awareness is where real growth happens. When you're triggered and you go off on somebody because they said something, if you take a moment afterwards or in that moment and be like, man, why did I? So what did they say? Well, why did what they say make me feel like I needed to react in that way? These type of growth techniques in our thinking make us more self-aware. The more self-aware you become, the more capable you will be to make a better decision the next time, or a different decision. Let's not say better. Let's not judge. Let's a different decision. Because I had many triggers. I was actually a very violent person, or at least passive aggressive at my best days, and it required for me to do these things. So I'm not recommending things that I didn't do. Now, anybody that's been here for a while, I appreciate y'all. I have this idea that I would also use this time to get some content recorded, right? So I'm gonna move and I'm gonna face this way. I got a Bible study. If y'all wanna get in here, it ain't church. Trust that. You know what I'm saying? It's a Bible study that I've done a couple times in myself, that teaches that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being. So I'm about to move into that. I appreciate y'all being here. We're gonna get into this because I'm gonna run out of time. I have to really be out the house very soon. So I appreciate y'all. We're gonna meet, adjust here, grab some water. I hope y'all are getting it though. I hope that y'all are understanding that only application saves, because that's the real point of my little rant I just gave. Because the challenges that we all face is that we learn something, we believe something, and then many people expect that knowledge and that believing to change their lives, right? You think that knowledge and that believing is going to change your life, and I'm telling you that believing and knowing is not enough. It says that knowledge puffeth up. You must apply it. You must test it. You must find out how it applies to your life. You must find out that 1 + 1 = 2. Like, they didn't just write it on the paper. They gave you one thing and then gave you another thing and showed you at two things. This is called application. This is how learning happens. So learning is excellent. Always be learning. Remain a student your entire life. Knowledge is not a bad thing. However, when you obtain knowledge, take that knowledge and decipher through it, become discerning, and decide for yourself what you believe. And when you decide that you believe something, now go find out if it's true by putting it into application. Go apply it to your life. And I guess I misspoke, because I still have some other stuff that's being pulled out. I cannot stress enough. The importance of applying stuff and testing stuff and finding out if it's true for yourself. Because yes, there's infinite power in belief, and that power is transmitted through action. so like there's the I think it's called potential energy and exponential energy. I think that's it. I don't know. It's been a long time since I got that. But the energy and act, energy and movement. You know what I'm saying? Like you if you want to have those things happen in your life that you believe are true, if you want to manifest that greater life, if you want to become that higher self, if you want to timeline jump, if you want to get off of the trajectory that you're on, and you realize like that you're responsible for your life and that you're not a victim, now you have these beliefs that are empowering you. Do something, right? Do something, like test it, apply it. It's so much easier than we make it. Like I was talking about earlier, fear, doubt, guilt, shame, those things, they trap us, they get into us and they control us. But we don't have to be controlled. We choose to be controlled. As soon as we feel a certain type of way, we can ask ourselves why, and we can choose to feel a different way. As soon as we find the situation that makes us feel like that, the thing that was said that makes us feel like that. Like there was so much trauma in my life, right? I had so much trauma. Like I was talking about yesterday, the first 6 years of my life, my mother is a teenage mother, and we lived in Southport, Florida. Many people may not know what that is, but it was racist as heck. I was called the N-word every day so much. I didn't know what it meant, but I started calling myself that. And then at 7 or 8, I moved into the house with my stepdad, and I have 2 older step siblings, and I'm never enough. So so first I'm an N-word for the first 6 years of my life, 7 years of my life, so much that I don't even understand that it's a word. I thought it was I thought it was just what I was. And then you go from that, not all the abuse there, and then you transition, and I moved into the hood, and then I'm not accepted there because I'm too light for them. And then I'm not accepted in the household because I'm not his child, and it's clearly obvious that I'm less. It's clearly obvious that I don't meet up. I'm not his. All of these traumatic events over my childhood, they by the time I was in high school, I was so depressed, I was so empty, I was so full of shame, so looking for the groups to follow, that I was looking for anything attached, trying to find anything to try to give me that feeling, to fill that void. I did drugs. I had sex with women. I chased alcohol. I mean, by the time I was 24, 25, I'm a drug addict, bro. Completely drugged out. Like you would have no idea. And by the time, that's why I start the video I did. I started at 2007. I mean, because at that time I was putting crack in my cigarettes, bro. Like I really had to, at the lowest part of my life in 07. And I think about all the shame, all the guilt, how like it just kept me from being the person that I could be. And thankfully there were people in my life that helped me break out of that, right? But all of that shame, guilt, fear, doubts, those things haunted me through my 20s, through my 30s, and still today, where I'm about to turn on the camera and I'm like, well, what you gonna talk about? And you start getting all those thoughts, you're flooded. And then I realized, hold on, man, this is what I was created for. Like anybody, if y'all been sitting here for any amount of time, I don't have a script. I don't have a plan. We just talking. I just come here and have these empowering conversations with truth, which is myself. So I sit up here and look at myself in the camera, and we're talking about the challenges that I've experienced and the ways that I've overcome them, hoping that something that I say wakes you up and makes you realize, like, nah, I was just thinking about that. You know what? I'm going to do that today. I'm going to choose to be 1% better today. I'm going to choose to apply the thing or test the belief that I believe. I'm going to find out if what I believe is true, because that is the key. Application is the key. It's the thing that I keep trying to get at right now. I keep trying to tell you that only application saves. I know it hurts. I know you probably never heard that, but I'm telling you it's absolutely true. It doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you believe. The only thing that matters is what you do. It must be tested, it must be proved for you. And when you prove it in your life, when you approve it that it's true, then you will actually have that more in you to give. Because I was just talking about the trauma of my childhood, right? So all of that trauma prevented me from realizing that no, the person you are on the inside is not the person you've accepted. And those challenges, when I began believing that I was greater, didn't mean anything until I started writing, until I started creating. When I started writing and I go and read the stuff I write, I'm like, wow. And I go and I make a video like this, and I'm thinking I was just talking, and I go back and I'm editing it, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, wow. And because I'm applying it and I'm seeing myself doing it and I'm seeing the results of my effort, then those results from the application, they strengthen my resolve. I hope this is making sense. This is the key to taking what it is that you learn, and then once it becomes a belief, you put effort to it and application, and this is going to strengthen your resolve to either strengthen that belief or realize that, hey, I need to get rid of this belief. It ain't even true. It's like sitting down to astral project. If you find out you can't astral project, then you can't astral project, and that's not true for you. Like you the things that are true for each and every individual aren't true for everybody. It comes down to a belief, test, application, and you get the results. And if the results don't come, that doesn't mean that it doesn't work immediately. Maybe you need to go back and check out your process. Maybe you need to do some back testing. But when you become aware that there's something greater in you, when you become aware that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being, that should it give a thought that, hey, well, why don't I feel like it? Right? Like, what is it in me that's keeping me from being the powerful, creative, spiritual person that I am? Well, it's your limiting beliefs. It's the things that you believe. And if you don't test the beliefs, if you don't believe that you can, let's keep it simple. Let's say you don't believe that you can walk across the street, or you don't believe that that you can go into a certain store and be accepted. Well, go test it. Just find out. And then you find out, and then you be like, wow, what I believed wasn't true. And that becomes the when the belief becomes fortified. Because beliefs are cool, but knowing is way better. Knowing is way better. I believed a lot of stuff. I believe wholeheartedly that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being. But I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I'll be sitting in the car meditating, thinking about it. I'm like, man, maybe there are children of light and children of darkness. Maybe everybody isn't what I say they are. And this just, I don't know why I said that, but it's serious. Like, I get to dealing with people and be out in the city and doing the things that we do. Man, I be like, man, that seems like, and I have to reassure myself, no, we all overlap, we're all one. I have to reassure myself. They're just their influences and the life that they came through has created beliefs and systems inside their life that I may not understand, that I may not agree with, that I may see as self-destructive and bad for society and destructive amongst society. But I can't judge that. I have to love them and accept them, and realize that just like I had challenges and I had a childhood and it was extremely traumatic and I had to go through the things that I had to go through, we all must do that. We all must make the decision to do better, wanna do better first, and then but if you don't, I guess like that's okay too, right? But if you're here watching me, I expect that anybody that's sitting here and watch me for any more than a minute, I expect that your life be transformed. I expect that the way you think will transform, and then you will wake up, and then you will do more because you will see more. And once you see more, it's like getting to the edge of the road and realizing that there's so much more. What I are like I taught in the beginning, back in when we first started, we talked about the rising staircase. So when you get there, it shouldn't never plateau. It should never plateau. It's a incline. Let's go. And I gotta get up out of here, man. I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for your time. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I'm really so grateful. I really am, to be able to share just some thoughts on my energy, be able to transmit my energy across the airwaves, and maybe have a positive effect on the people, and be able to raise your consciousness to help you realize that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being capable of doing anything that you can imagine and believe. But that belief requires that you act upon it. And on that,
I am the bridge between mastery and mystic. Energy electric, divine, realistic. Liberating others by living a line. Teaching through my essence, no need to define. Presence, discernment, clarity the key. Truth in my vessel, I set spirits free. Transformation flowing, pure divine. Every bar, mirror of the high design.